I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At today's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Senator Amy Klobuchar responded to Justice Samuel Alito's draft opinion. The leaked opinion revealed the possible overturning of Roe v. Wade on a 5-4 margin, with all three Trump-appointed justices joining Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Klobuchar said that while she doesn't like leaks, quote, "No one's going to care about that when that opinion comes out if it's anything close to what we just read." Klobuchar decried the potential opinion, stating that it will bring the United States back to the 1850s. Let's listen in to the Minnesota Democrat.
The measure, Senator Klobuchar is recognized.
Thank you. I would like to very, very briefly get at what you've all been talking about this whole time. I got to say that when I heard all the outrage about the leak, I don't like leaks. I understand why they're trying to figure out who did the leak. I get all this. But in the end, no one's going to care about that when that opinion comes out if it's anything close to what we just read. It doesn't just, when they say it'll take us back to the 50s, it's not the 1950s, it's like the 1850s. In the first page of that opinion, Justice Alito, and we now know he wrote it, he led with the word abortion is not in the Constitution. Well, you know what else isn't in the Constitution? Birth control isn't in the Constitution. Contraceptives aren't in the Constitution. All these things, rights that have been established over time by thoughtful justices, including Republican-appointed justices like Justice Blackmun, who was a Republican-appointed justice from the state of Minnesota, who wrote the opinion in Roe v. Wade. All of that, supposedly now, is going to go out the window. So if you want to hear outrage, you can be all outraged and outraged, but you're going to hear outrage at the ballot box, because time after time, people who aren't even that involved in politics, women, I can tell you right now, they're going to vote. Because the numbers show it, the polls show it, 70 to 80%. We can fight about this all we want, but you're basically taking a right that they believe is theirs and taking it away from them. And it's going to matter. So at some point, all the outrage about who said what and who paid for what and who did what, and I agree with what my friend Sheldon said here, but it's all not going to matter because this is going to be a really big deal to people. So if I were you guys, instead of just focusing on an internal court problem right now, I'd be focusing on what your constituents are going to be thinking about this and how they're going to feel. And if you want them to get on buses and have to go across state lines, and if you want them to die from a back alley abortion, because that's what's going to start happening here. So I work with you guys on stuff all the time, but if you want to be outraged, you're going to hear about what outrage is, and you got to think about the implications of this as opposed to what's going on over in the court, because it appears to be coming our way. If what we're hearing is true, this isn't just a single opinion by one justice, 98 pages, which I would term as precedent only when I want it to be. That's what that was. So you can be mad about a leak, but people are going to be a lot madder at you guys if you let this happen. So I am happy to talk about this bill I have with Senator Grassley because it gets at something else that's pretty outrageous that's going on right now, which is energy costs. And he and I don't agree on everything here. I do think I wouldn't be going after solar and wind. I think our future is actually a lot of choice in energy, and it is clean energy, and it is bringing down greenhouse gases and climate change. And I think the way you do that, in part, is by making sure that we have other sources of energy besides what we're getting out of the Mideast. And that means bringing down costs. And we've got solar, we've got wind, we've got biofuels, something that he and I work on together all the time. And one of the things that's been going on is that we have these high prices influenced by cartels out of the Mideast. And I introduced this bill with Senator Grassley because I believe that free and competitive markets in oil and natural gas are better for consumers than markets controlled by a cartel of state-owned oil companies. Every day in markets across our economy, consumers rely on competitive markets to keep prices low and the quality of goods and services high. Competition is the very basis of our economic system, but the fact is that we don't have free competition in global oil markets, and that means a lot less efficient energy markets that are less stable and are more expensive for Americans. Part of the solution, as I just noted, is other forms of energy and electric cars and biofuels and the like, but part of the solution here is making sure that our energy prices aren't controlled by international cartels. Under current law, the Justice Department is powerless to stop OPEC and its members from coordinating oil production to manipulate prices and supply, which drive up costs for Americans. That's why Senator Grassley and I have long been working on the No Oil Producing and Exporting Cartels Act, also known as NOPEC. The bipartisan legislation would explicitly authorize the Justice Department to bring lawsuits against oil cartel members for antitrust violations, meaning we would enforce U.S. antitrust law against OPEC producers or, and this is important, Russian state-owned producers if they engage in anti-competitive cartel activity. It would establish that neither sovereign immunity nor the act of state doctrine prevents a court from ruling on antitrust charges brought against foreign governments for engaging in the illegal pricing, production, or distribution of petroleum products. The NOPEC Act will help make gas prices fair and affordable here at home by ensuring the market is protected by robust competition. I urge my colleagues to support the bill.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask the sponsors a question or two?
Let me
At
just
some point.
say, of course, this is the point, and I'm going to invite any senator who has an amendment or wants to make